Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Aaron, will you do the roll call?
Jake Maring.
Here.
Casey Boer.
Here.
Wayne Schmidt.
Here.
Midge Swedberg. Here. Scott Meverden.
Here.
John Ortlieb.
Here.
Kevin Schmidt and Lee Bashlet will be absent tonight.
Okay. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this meeting is in compliance with the open meeting law. The first thing is I would like a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it is approved. Okay, then the approval of the minutes from the December 4th and the December 19th meetings. Could I get that approval?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Public comment. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to come forward and talk to the council for any reason? Anybody from the audience that would like to come forward? Okay, one last chance. Anybody want to come forward? Okay, then we're going to move on. Next item is the introduction of our new treasurer. So you want to stand up, Tiffany McCoy. We're really pleased to have you here. Do you have anything you'd like to say to people?
Thank you for this opportunity. I've lived in the area for about 6 years, and I'm excited to be part of the team. Today was my first day, so no hard questions, please.
Okay, well, thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Okay, then the next item is consideration of bills. Did everybody get a chance to look at the bills, and are there any questions on any of them?
Yeah, I have one. On the bill for Belco, for outfitting that squad, is that less the refund that we got for bringing the other stuff back, or is that, we did get a refund, didn't we, for the
Yes.
equipment that was ordered wrong?
Yes, we did, but that's been put back into the general fund prior to that bill coming from Belco. So that is not, that is the true bill that you see in front of you tonight from Belco. The pieces and parts that were already taken care of, that were the wrong stuff, were already replaced and put back into the general fund.
Into the general fund, not to offset this cost here then?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, could I get a motion to approve the payment of the bills?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion, and a second. Would you do a roll call?
Meverden.
Yes.
Maring.
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt.
Yes.
Boer.
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
Swedberg.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Next item is conference attendance. We know about the police chief wanting to attend one in Wisconsin Dells, and we don't need a motion to allow him to.
Yep, we'll
Yes.
need a
We
motion.
do
need
need
a
a
motion.
motion, but we don't need a roll call.
You couldn't find one in the Bahamas?
Is that a training type thing, or is it?
Yes, it's the winter police chief. Yeah, they have the training portion. Usually they have a big speaker, but then there's training portions. The attorney general comes and talks about all of the legislation and stuff like that that's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Moved. Second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the conference is approved. Committee reports. Does anyone have any questions on any of the committee reports? Any questions? Okay, hearing none, then I need a motion to approve the receipt of the committee reports.
So moved.
We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the committee reports are approved. Okay, old business. The Chapter 6 Animal Ordinance 843. Okay,
So the second reading of the ordinance is before you guys tonight. No changes came from the last one. Just the formal second reading and adoption of the ordinance for
okay.
amending chapter 6, as it relates to animals.
So, section 6.5, line 59, if you're going by lines, I don't think we talked about striking horses and all of that sort of stuff. We did.
That was never in the original ordinance.
So, all right, so we're just gonna confine it to livestock, and the term being livestock, and the other thing, didn't the high school have a bee permit?
Correct. They haven't come back for another one yet.
They have not. So that is an exception, or is it, where are we
I don't
standing
know
on
if a bee
that?
qualifies as livestock, but it would have to be, it would have to come before this body again.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion and a second to go forward?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Second.
And second by Scott. Would you do a roll call, please?
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Mehring,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, next item under new business, the line of credit for the landfill. Matt?
So just to kind of bring everybody back, the city of Algoma is a partner, the majority holder of a landfill just west of the city of Algoma, right off of Highway 54, where the city used to bring all of our refuge to, along with some other stockholders at the time would bring their stuff there. And TRC is the group that has the oversight of all the DNR and EPA work that goes along with that Superfund site that we have. We had to hold, per our last 5 years, so 5 years ago, we just finished our 5-year permit now. We held a irrevocable line of credit with Nicolay Bank for that landfill by the EPA. Said this is the amount of money, $297,000, that we had to hold that line of credit, that if any of us would not pay to continue to keep that Superfund site where it is to date, we would have to, that line of credit could be taken by the EPA. And the reason I'm bringing everybody up to speed on this is we were paying $2,970 a year to Nicolay Bank for keeping that line of credit. We now have since been able to drop that dollar amount after the last 5-year review here to $215,000. And we reached out to the Bank of Luxembourg. We're still waiting on the EPA to let us know if it has to be irrevocable or if it can be revocable, a line of credit. But working with the Bank of Luxembourg here in town, like I said, $215,000 at 8.5%, and they would charge us a one-time fee of $1,500 and lock us in with that line of credit for 3 years instead of by the year.
What was the percentage?
8.5%. Now,
Follows
we would,
Prime.
I'm sorry, what?
It follows Prime.
Correct, it will follow prime. But we will not pay any interest on that unless we would draw from this line of credit. So we have not in the last 5 years drawn a dollar, or the EPA has not drawn a dollar. We've stayed in good standings with what we've needed to do from 5 years to today. And going forward, I expect to do that in the next 5 years. But like I said, $1,500, and that would be for a 3-year term, which would open-end it. And talking with TRC, they thought after the 3 years that we could probably go back to the EPA and have that amount lowered or adjusted to, instead of waiting the full 5 years. So I would like a motion, pending any questions from the council, to continue working with the Bank of Luxembourg pending irrevocable or revocable, depending on what the EPA and TRC decides.
All right, so there's no maintenance fee like we had been paying Nicolay Bank.
Correct.
Every year we were paying Nicolay Bank.
All right.
Every year we were renewing that line of credit at $2,970 a year.
So,
No,
but
it
this
was
is,
higher.
this is a one-time fee of what?
$1,500
And the 8.5 only comes into play if we've taken.
if we
money.
draw from that line of credit. To date, we have never drawn from this line of credit. This is not anything that we would draw for to purchase any city asset or anything like that. This is strictly for if we would come out of compliance with the EPA on the landfill.
And that
So-
1,500 is for 3 years?
For 3 years, a one-time fee of $1,500.
We are a municipality, and that 8.5% is for a non-municipal borrower.
No, it
Eight-
follows prime.
Prime.
Because it's a line of credit.
8.5 is the prime today.
I understand that.
Yep.
I
And
understand that, but as a municipality, when we borrow as a municipality, which is tax-free. It's a tax-free item. So I would think we could get better than 8.5, better than the standard for normal business, because we're a municipality and because of the tax consequences on that.
Not with it having to be an irrevocable letter. If it wasn't an irrevocable letter and we actually had to establish a line that we thought we could draw on, it's very possible. But being that this is an irrevocable letter of credit, it's gonna be tied to prime no matter what bank or what financial institution we go to.
Oh, see, I guess I'm not seeing that.
And we had conversations with them about this as well, both with Nicolay and the Bank of Luxembourg.
So this is specific just to the landfill? It's
This
not
is
like-
specific just to the
This is
landfill.
not
This
a
started
line
back,
of credit for anything but for, to stay in good standards with the EPA at the landfill. In conversations with the EPA and conversations with TRC, I would, even if we would get ourselves in a position where one of the other stakeholders wouldn't come forward with their money, I would bring to the council that we would probably, before we would draw on this line of credit, we would probably pay that off or pay that down with our own cash balance or with a CD that we have vested.
So this is more or less, it's a necessity for us to have.
What it
insurance
really is a
liability.
letter to the EPA to put in their file that's attached to our Superfund site that they know that there's money being
Guaranteeing
backed.
If it all goes wrong, they can draw on it.
Right.
Correct.
yep,
Yep. So I would never plan on drawing on this line of credit, but for this letter, this piece of paper that we need in our file to keep the EPA.
Yeah, because if we needed it, we can always go to the general fund or something, take it out.
Or we would go to a CD or something like that.
and that's a conversation you're having with them as well, is do we even need to have a letter of credit established? Can we just use,
A CD
A
and
CD.
earmark, that's something we're working through as well.
Okay.
So I'd like a motion just to continue that we would do work, move forward with this pending waiting the final drafts from the Bank of Luxembourg and everything else that I would bring forward before they would be signed.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Would you do a roll call on that then?
Mehring,
Yep.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
Okay, and that passes. Then we're on to the resolution 1185-224, primary election.
Okay, so before we dig into the resolution, I know that we just passed a charter ordinance on this. However, that charter ordinance doesn't take into effect until 60 days after publishing. So that would not take into effect until February 5th, I think, for us to have a primary. With that charter ordinance, it's just, you would automatically have one in a situation where you have more than 2 candidates running for a specific office. Being that charter ordinance isn't into effect, and as of today, we have 3 candidates for mayor and we have 3 candidates for alderman in the 3rd district. We have a resolution before you requiring a primary election for February, just to dot our i's and cross our t's, basically.
Yeah, that was the only question that I had, is if, why?
Why did we
being that
just
We did the charter, yeah, so after this one,
Yeah,
it's just
if-
gonna always
Never come
fall
in with
back to
automatically.
the
Yep.
third
If we would have
Tuesday
passed that charter
February or
ordinance
whatever
in
it is, okay.
September, this wouldn't even be a topic right
So
now.
it's only
It would,
specific
Yep.
to this company?
Correct.
Alright, I'll make a motion to approve 1185-2024 as presented.
Somebody say a second?
John
Yeah,
seconded.
Johnson
Okay,
seconded.
do a roll call on this.
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Boer,
Abstain.
Mehring,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Meverden.
Yes.
And on to the administrator's report.
A couple things, just to touch base again, Going Garbage will have their first garbage pickup tomorrow morning. Have your Going Garbage, this is for all the general public that are listening tonight. Going Garbage, their pickup will be tomorrow, and then it will go back to every Tuesday. Because of the holiday is why it's getting picked up on Wednesday, tomorrow morning. GFL is currently picking up bins. They started last Thursday first. They were supposed to start on Wednesday. They started back at it. It's going a lot slower than we thought that it was going to go, but they are currently, people are calling City Hall when our GFL bins getting picked up. They are out there this morning. They are picking them up. I have some patience. They will be there to pick them up, okay? Tax bills, the 2023 tax bills have been sent out. You can bring them into City Hall as all the way up to January 31st. 4 o'clock, January 31st, they can be paid here at City Hall. City Hall hours for collection are 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Payments can be mailed or made in person or placed in the drop box here at City Hall. It is a secured drop box in the front entrance of City Hall excuse me. If you require a receipt, if you want a receipt with your taxes, please leave a self-addressed stamped envelope in with your taxes, and the clerk or the treasurer will take care of that and get that mailed back to you. And then the last thing I have, just to touch base, a lot of questions, a lot of phone calls here at City Hall, but the marina dredging is underway. What we are doing in the Algoma Marina to date is dredging our marina. That has nothing to do with the harbor wall project that is scheduled to start this spring. That is strictly a project that we're doing here. It is underway. The cell has been finished will be finished probably by Thursday, and starting Monday we're going to start hauling those dredgings out to that cell on Evergreen Road.
So they're not letting that stand to drain any longer?
It's been draining out, but we're working through that process right now where they keep putting fresh dredgings on top of the stuff that's sitting.
Yeah.
So we want to get that out of there so they can start to make some smaller windrows, so we're not letting it sit there for such a long period of time.
Because Jaden wasn't done with putting the clay in there.
Correct,
Is he
yes.
finishing that up this week then?
Hopefully by Thursday afternoon, he figures he'll be done, and then the cell would be ready to start receiving the spoils to be hauled out
And when
there.
that's done, that cell gets covered,
It will get covered with clay and then topsoil and then seeded down.
seeded,
Yes,
similar to the landfill?
correct.
We don't have to have any type of monitoring?
There won't be any monitoring wells or anything like that in there, no.
Okay, thank you.
So that's all I have,
Okay,
Madam Mayor.
okay, then we move on to mayor's appointments. Last meeting, I mentioned there were 3 openings on committees, and I do have people I'd like to have appointed. On the border review, I would like an appointment of Joanne Smits, the Community Development Committee appointment, Shannon Larson, and Development Authority appointment, Margot Rouse. Are there any questions or concerns about any? Otherwise, I'd like a motion to approve the 3.
Who was the first one?
Joanne Smits.
She's currently on the CDC as well.
Okay, and Margot's expertise for the redevelopment authority is what?
Margot's expertise
The expertise,
for Margot.
well, Shannon Larson is a banker. Margot Rouse has just been living in Algoma for a long time and really knows everything that's happening.
And Margot was a former mayor.
And Joanne Smith has been on other city committees.
Redevelopment
Before, so-
authority requires specific skills associated to that, and being a former mayor doesn't apply.
I think he's right. I think if you go back and look, there were certain criteria.
There are certain criteria that you have to meet.
When that was.
I don't think for every one of them, but we can definitely check
You
on
better
that.
check on that, Matt, just in case, because I know there was 2 from either a mayor and 2 councilmen, or a mayor and a councilman.
Well, the one that got off, what was her skill set?
Who got off?
Sarah Kraus.
Real estate.
Real estate,
Local
I
business
think.
owner?
Real estate.
You better,
Yes.
you better check that first.
Okay.
You
before
got,
we-
you gotta check that.
I don't have a
because-
problem with Margot,
Yeah.
but I'm
Because,
saying,
because the qualifications for that were very, very specific.
I thought that was.
Barring that, there's no issues. I don't see any issue. I don't have a problem with
No.
it either, but
Yeah,
just to
okay.
double check. You, Are you looking for a motion
A
for
motion for all
three
three,
in
all
one?
three at once, yes.
What, I'm gonna make a motion to approve her appointment to the Board of Review and also to the CDC. And I'm gonna hold off on the redevelopment until we get further clarification.
Sure.
Okay,
That's my motion.
okay, so the motion is for the first two. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
To not do the redevelopment at this point?
Second.
And second, okay. Then would you do a roll call on that?
Mehring,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Swedberg.
Yes.
Okay. So then you'll check into that, Margot, and then it'll be an agenda item for next month then?
For sure.
Okay. Okay, next thing is, any agenda items you want for next meeting, be sure to get them to either Matt or Aaron so we can get them on the agenda. Our next meeting will be February 5th at 6 PM here at City Hall, and that is a Monday. And the next item is to go into closed session pursuant to 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluations of a public official. Okay.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, do a roll call to go into closed session?
Swedberg,
Yes.
Mehring,
Yes.
Meverden,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
Okay, so